A few years ago, a social media post alerted me to the discovery of a pet cemetery in Africa, where archaeologists had found some monkey burials. I knew exotic animals were exhibited all over the Roman Empire, and some animals were hunted in amphitheaters or theaters for entertainments, but pet monkeys seemed new to me. Well, the memory stuck, and then I saw another post about pet monkeys in the ancient world. I knew I would need to wait for academic articles to be published to explain what exactly was found. Social media is great and all, but it's not thorough and not peer reviewed. So recently, I finally dug around to figure out what is going on with ancient Roman monkeys, and thankfully, the academic publication process has given us some good information. So, what were monkeys doing in the Roman Empire? The pet cemetery in question is from Berenike on the Red Sea in the Roman province of Egypt. During the Roman period, Berenike was a port town that connected sea traffic from the Indian Ocean and Arabian Peninsula to the Roman Empire. The goods would pass over land from Berenike, likely on camels, to the Nile, then up the Nile to Alexandria and the Mediterranean Sea. At some point, there will hopefully be a further publication of this port town with lots more details and analysis of its cemetery, but for now we have some great articles to read. From Dr. Marta Osipinska's publications available to me now, it seems that the pet cemetery was used during the late 1st century and 2nd century CE before rubbish heaps encroached on the area and an unclear feature that defined the area fell out of use. A little warning, I'm about to show you excavation photos from the pet cemetery, so that means animal skeletons. The pet cemetery included lots of cats and dogs, a bird, a fox, and 10 monkeys, over 500 animals in all. The last season found a few hundred more animals than this, so we don't even have the full picture yet. Look forward to more publications. Even though the monkeys are getting a lot of attention from online news stories and blogs, we should note they are the sensational find, and they were heavily outnumbered by cats and dogs. Many of the animals were buried in ceramic vessels or under a textile mat, sort of like it was the pet sarcophagus. So, like today when people use shoeboxes. In Berenike, there were no tombstones to mark the animals' graves. All of the animals were buried in a resting position, and the monkeys were usually young. A few of the monkeys had iron collars around their necks, and one had a beaded necklace. One was even buried with some toys or its own pets, a shell, 3 young cats, and a piglet. Aside from the monkeys, a cat had a beaded necklace, a few cats also had metal collars, and a cattle-tail was buried with another cat. From the burials, we can see that the monkeys were treated similarly to humans. They had toys and pets. They were also treated similarly to other animals. They had collars and were buried with the other animals. The monkeys have been identified as macaques or types of macaques, rhesus monkeys, grivets, vervets, and baboons. To begin contextualizing the site within ancient Greek and Roman culture, it's worth noting a few things. Berenike was founded under the Hellenistic monarch Ptolemy II, and it is pretty far from the core of the Roman Empire. But letters from centurions were found here, so there is likely a mix of Roman and local cultures. Nevertheless, the excavators note that the burial of animals in Berenike is unlike anything found in the Nile Valley. Furthermore, while far from conclusive, a Google search for Roman pet cemetery only returns results about this cemetery. Granted, monkeys in the Roman Empire are sensational finds, and this excavation project has done some good PR work, but I'd expect Google could help me find something else if there were more ancient Roman pet cemeteries. The hundreds of animals buried here are certainly purposefully located in the same spot so that it's a cemetery for pets. 2 calves and 2 goats were also buried here, the calves as sacrificial animals and possibly as the first burials, and goats as the last animals and purposefully at the corners of the cemetery, but they are outliers. Ancient Greeks and Romans, moreover, were known to have buried pets they loved dearly with tombstones, and Dr. Peter Krushwitz compiled some of that evidence in this blog post. So, like all archaeological sites, this pet cemetery is unique, but also illustrates larger cultural trends. Indeed, on her blog, Dr. Caitlin R. Green has located several archaeological finds of Barbary macaques or other macaques from across the Roman Empire, shown here in dark blue. Ancient literary evidence also mentions various types of monkeys. They were mentioned by authors you'd expect to mention animals: Aristotle, Pliny the Elder, and Strabo. We also know a lot about them from Galen, a doctor who dissected Barbary macaques. The primates mentioned are from both Africa and Asia, but the Romans were more familiar with African monkeys. From the 2nd century BCE plays of Plautus, we know that Romans were familiar enough with monkeys, or the idea of monkeys, for Plautus to pun on the word scimmia and to play with tropes involving and stereotypes about monkeys. Archaeologically, many finds of monkey skeletons come from late antiquity and a little bit earlier, while authors from the first few centuries CE mention monkeys. Monkeys also appear throughout Greek and Roman artwork in wall paintings, painted pottery, lamps, figurines, fibulae, gems, and sculpture. The primates, though, are not depicted with consistent features, or often not even well enough to attempt to identify their species. Altogether, this evidence suggests that ancient Greeks and Romans across the Mediterranean would have been familiar with monkeys, or at least the idea of them. Monkeys do not seem to have become pets, though, until the 2nd century BCE. In fables, proverbs, and other writings, monkeys are portrayed fairly consistently. They were seen as tricky and easily trickable, clownish, foolish, and ugly. Some of this characterization is based on the perceived similarities between monkeys and humans. That must be part of the joke here, where a donkey is teaching a group of primate students. At times, it seems that the similarity between humans and monkeys is used to separate the author or speaker from another person or character. Often, this is done to portray the other person as a greedy, conniving sycophant, manipulating the system for their own benefit. For example, in this fragment of a sculpted oil lamp, the monkey is clothed and reading a scroll with the word Ephelopinox, one who jumps on a plate, as if the book teaches him how to be a more parasitic companion to the wealthy. At other times, monkeys are portrayed as wearing clothing as if they are humans, or just less attractive humans. Many of these jokes and stories indicate that monkeys were seen as ugly and ridiculous. Aside from these stereotypes, monkeys were pets and/or entertainers for Romans. According to literary and archaeological evidence, their owners could have included a friend of the Roman aristocrat Pompey, the Egyptian queen Cleopatra, another Egyptian monarch, the king of the Molossoi, a butcher, a sailor, a merchant traveling at sea, a shopkeeper, soldiers, and officers. On this vase, there is a monkey in the rigging of a ship. It could either be there like the panther to hit at the scene setting in Africa, or to show the monkey is owned by the king on the throne, or another of the men present. The monkey buried in Evia, Spain, was dressed as a soldier by its owner, who was somehow attached to a military outpost there, and this macaque had a leash. Similarly, several monkeys in the Berenike pet cemetery had collars. The benefit of these leashes and collars is illustrated by an incident in Plautus's Miles Gloriosus. A pet monkey scampers over the roof and is pursued by a slave trying to capture it again. Several lamps depict monkeys as companions of jugglers, and a wall painting in Pompeii shows a small child with a whip encouraging his pet monkey to dance. Another now lost Pompeian wall painting from the amphitheater shows an ape-banded tiger. This is one of a series of 5 paintings with animal pairs fighting. We also know that apes were part of the games offered as part of Pompey's second consulship in 55 BCE. A few scenes appear often in ancient art, including monkeys. They are often shown riding animals, especially horses. Sometimes the monkey is riding the back of the horse, other times the monkey is holding on to the other animal's neck or mane. Other artwork shows apes embracing their young or eating. Another common scene involves the mythical Orpheus. After he failed to recover his late wife from the underworld, Orpheus abandoned human society and played music that enchanted animals. Many images of Orpheus and animals include monkeys, and the monkeys occasionally play along with the musician. All told, the literary and archaeological evidence point to monkeys being a part of ancient life, as an idea or in reality. As an idea, they were stereotyped as ridiculous and imitators of humans. In Greek art, they were often on the edges of images and were meant to elicit laughter, perhaps as apotropaic elements meant to turn away evil intents and spirits or to lighten the mood. While some monkeys eventually became pets, they were not as common as cats and dogs. They did also appear in the Roman Empire as actual entertainers or companions to human entertainers. And, well, hopefully they've brought you at least some entertainment and education today.